Hello, my name is Marcus and welcome to the top 50 games of all time, the top 10 this time. And I'm gonna get right into it because I have a large pile of games here because I thought it would be nice to show off the games, but of course many of the games of the top 10 are the ones that I have massive collections of because I really like these games. So, first of all, at number 10, it is Everdell. They've fallen down a little bit, they were 8th last year, they've sort of switched places with a few teams and that has gone in a little bit further up into tournaments. I just switched around places a little bit, but really it's still a brilliant game. We've played a few more expansions for it and it just gets better with every single one. The complete collection, some people are talking, this is one of the first big box games it was ever there with this massive box, and you can see it takes off basically half my entire torso. Actually, it's below my legs right now. It is absolutely massive. Some say it helps them not get it to the table. I feel it otherwise, like it's something where I'm like, I don't know, you know, because obviously I can carry it like this. Everybody knows what I'm coming with. I'm pretty sure you can see that on the camera, but I'm not sure because I'm standing up now. It's different. But overall, the worker placement and the fact that you are in like different seasons, or at least can be in different seasons and end the game at different points, is an incredibly interesting mechanic. Where it kind of falls apart is in the fact that somebody could end up sitting waiting a little bit for others to finish. That's a little bit off there, but it's such an interesting way of doing it. And then the worker placement, of course, is just brilliant. Always love some worker placement. Next up is Distilled, a spirited strategy game. Number 9 this year. It was also number 9 last year, so it has remained in its position in 9th place. I'm out of breath from Everdell. A brilliant game about creating spirits. I backed this game originally and received it when I was really into spirits. If you check the early stages of my YouTube here, you see some alcoholic videos about alcoholic beverages, so that's when I backed it. Now I'm not so interested in it, but it's still a really good game where you are creating alcohols. It's very interesting to learn about these different alcohols and the cultures surrounding it and the brewing methods. Not brewing, that's not the right word for it, but the methods to make it, because those are very realistically portrayed in this one. The Middle East / Africa expansion adds some more interesting stuff. I wish there was a card plan with every single continent on it. There's always one continent missing. And that's difficult when you're playing with everything, because somebody might drop something to do with Europe and you've just randomly gotten one of those that doesn't have Europe on it. We used to play with the rule of you draw a new card then, because that's not fair. But if you just had some tasting charts, but I can't remember, tasting flights, that's not what it's called, with every single continent, that would be great. The most recent expansion, the cask strength expansion, added, just amazing. The variable market thing is such an amazing twist to it. You're planning to do something next turn, that one can mess it up a little bit, change up your plans a little bit. What an absolutely brilliant expansion. You love it. In at number 8, so drop down one space here. It is Viticulture Essential Edition. Well, I say it's the Essential Edition because it's the only one I've ever played. In here I have Viticulture Edition, Tuscany Essential Edition, Viticulture World in the wine crate, of course. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Got this actually at Essen the first time we ever went, so cool about that. Another big box. It's a smaller big box, but still, oh, that's the maps. But still a big box. To me, I think I'm including Tuscany into this one. Where Everdell's still behind. Yeah, Everdell was still behind Viticulture last time around. So I thought Viticulture might have overtaken, but it didn't. Tuscany would definitely have been the nail in the coffin to solidify Viticulture as better than Everdell. I actually think on its day, you might actually get me to play Distilled more than Viticulture. It's, as I say, it's switcheroo on it. But Viticulture is of course a worker placement, creating wines, brewing wines. Again, I'm saying brewing, that's not really the right word for it. But it's another of these games of creating alcohol, having a farm. I talked about Lagrangia earlier. Distilled was also creating this stuff, and Viticulture have a wine vineyard, I believe is the right word for it, not vineyard, but a vineyard. We're fancy. where you are creating wines. And again, it's done in a very realistic way. You have tools you need for certain kinds of wines, and so to increase it in strength, you also need to do certain things. And then you of course sell them on and have residual payment for it. I don't know if that's very accurate to real life, but everything else is incredibly accurate to real life and really great. Now we get to just a normal sized box for once in this top 10. It's Creaturecom. Now it is lifted a little bit because I have an insert in it and I have a bunch of stuff, and I'm trying, hopefully maybe getting a hold of upgraded components for it. Seriously, if someone wants to sell it, contact me. I need the upgraded components for this one. So Creaturecom, another worker placement. That's the third worker placement in these four. I don't know if you can guess what my favorite mechanic is. It's definitely worker placement is my favorite mechanic probably out there. But yeah, this one, what I really love about it is the coziness of it, so to speak. When we play, we have this rule that it's a fun, cozy togetherness game, right? There's one of the cards that does that. You place a worker for the other person, or you give the other person some resources, and every time we're like, where would you like to place it? What resources do you need? We switcheroo, we're nice to each other, because that's what the game is about. Sure, you get in each other's way, not that much, just a little bit, but it is just a very nice, cozy, fun game to play. And it takes a hell of a long time, but it's great. Next up is one of the few games that I actually play solo. In at number 6 is what you... By the way, Creaturecom were number 6 last year. It's gone down one space. You'll start to notice me saying that quite a lot because, well, you'll see why. K2 was number 5 last year, now it's number 6. And this is the first game that I sort of played solo and actually enjoyed it. I'm not a solo gamer, I'll say that right now. Nothing against anyone who is solo gamers. I'm just not, that doesn't interest me. Because usually you change the way you play. Let's take Wingspan or... let's not talk about Wingspan, Everdell or... I can't use the examples I want to use. But a lot of games will change up the way you play. There will be different ways for the AI opponent, so to speak, will get in your way in different ways than what a normal player would. And it can be very frustrating to play against because it doesn't make sense the way you place these things. That's not what a real life player would do. It's not this systematic, it's more random because, or you can actually calculate. You can think, this person wants to place this here, so I need to go here first if I want to actually do that. But with the AI opponent, you can't predict that. You can't say that. You can't just hit with the, oh, so it does that now. Well, then I should have, it's so frustrating. But in K2, when you play solo, there is no AI opponent. I'm calling it an AI opponent for lack of a better word. I think the Stone Miner games have something automa. I think AI sounds better. But K2 doesn't have that. In K2 you're just alone climbing a mountain with your 2 mountain climbers. Opposite people not getting away. You're just alone, challenging the environment. I think that's brilliant, especially for the theme, that's sort of thematic, that you would do that. That you would sort of climb that way. I'm bringing it here with heat because obviously you have the gameplay of 6 cards in hand, you play them out. In this one it's only 3 in heat, you switch it up a little bit and it's 7 cards. And then you move based on the cards you played. It's such a simple gameplay that just is added up with the weather that gets in your way, mountain getting in your way, you need to go up and be out of breath. I would be a bad mountain climber. All of that, it all needs to come together and you need to sort of predict it, be vigilant and be ready to set up a quick tent or a snow tunnel in one of the expansions. It's just really, really, really good. Next up, this was number 4 last year, now it's number 5. It's Team Night Europe. Continuing to drop ever so steadily down the list. It was at one point my number 1 while I made these lists. I have here the 15th anniversary edition of Team Night Europe, which is absolutely brilliant. The artwork is incredible, the board is gorgeous. I know it's quite a bit bigger and some people might be thrown off by that, but it's absolutely amazing, absolutely brilliantly looking. the components are just upgraded beyond belief. But regular Team Night Europe is still also good. Great even. Days of Wonder really hit the nail in the coffin on what you say with this. Components just fit in perfectly, they're nice, super nice, and fit together. They're not super highly upgraded like they're in the 15th anniversary, but they're still really good. You don't really need to replace them. They have some cool artwork sleeves, card sleeves, which I do have for regular Team Night, not for Team Night Europe. They look really good and they're nice. If you play it a lot, I recommend getting those. And then you have the gameplay, which is just so simple, it's so enticing, so intriguing. There's so much to so little with Team Night. It's amazing. This of course it must stand in a bunch of these Team Nights, could have made it in all over the list. I'm putting it down here because it doesn't fit in these shelves, unfortunately, it's too wide. So I have a wider shelf down here. I can't remember if you can see it in the camera angle, but it's down there, pointing out a little bit. Super awesome. That was Team Night Europe. Well, now we have last year's number 3, this year's number 4. And I did mention it before, Stonemaier Automa wingspan. I was going to point up here, it's missing from the top of my shelf. So if you know how my shelf looks normally, you would have to guess it already. It's right here. Wingspan. I still haven't gotten hold of Asia. I have everything else for it besides Asia. There are rumors going around that Asia is going to be releasing in Danish later this year because I have everything else in Danish. So I really obviously want Asia in Danish as well. Maybe later on this year come the winter. Fingers crossed, I'm really hoping that's true. And this is one of very few where I actually have a number on it. This is the third printing, number 3487 out of 12,500. And this also sort of was the initial start of me caring about which way the lid faced. Normally I didn't really care about how the lid faced, but obviously if I take this and turn it around, it looks terrible. So this needs to face one proper way. I can also quickly show off my awesome upgraded components that are down here. Wingspan is a game that I've upgraded quite a bit, I think. Probably the most upgraded bit. But now it fits correctly and I've kind of cared about that since. Yes, this goes up here and completes the top wall up here with Lego chest lines exhibit, Dell and wingspan. So that was number 4. Number 3 now was number 2 last year, so we're closing in on a clearing there, and I'll show you what I mean. Because here we have Meadow turn like this, and then I just turn it straight around. That's what I mean by the lid going the correct way. Meadow, what a brilliant game. Recently got a hold of the expansion, actually very much delayed. I'm gonna pretty have it in hand. Very much delayed on getting a hold of the expansion. It's been years since it came out. It's been a while at least. I just never, every time I went to a place where I could get it, sold out. Every time, and obviously it's not always been sold out, it's just every time I went to look. But then one time I thought, you know, no, I'm gonna like put these extra bit of money to the side to get the expansion. I'm gonna sign up for a link like, tell me when it's in stock. As soon as it's in stock, order it. So did, got a hold of the expansion. Boy, is it brilliant. Going alongside regular Meadow here is just a really lovely game about creating, well, a meadow in front of you. You're walking across the countryside. What are you going to see? What are you going to experience? It's lovely building a village based on the ecosystem, of course, who's the top of the food chain, who's the bottom, we too, with some limitations to what you're actually capable of doing, of course. Then you have the additional of the fish, which the rules are weird, twisty, and not always the absolute best, I have to say, about placement rules and stuff. But it does add so much to the game, an extra rule to care about, something extra to look at, some more to do, and it just is one of those absolutely brilliant expansions that makes a really great game just even better. I love the simplicity of choosing the cards through your little arrows, you know, one card, 2 card, 3, 4, and placing it around, or using it for an ability. It's this pick and choose, which cards do you need, how important is it, and it's so important to get a good start in it as well. This was the other game I wanted to use as an example for the one player, because In this one, you at random draw up the tiles and place them in one of the notches around. That wouldn't happen. In real life, you could predict it, you could keep an eye out for it and do something about it before it got out of the hand for you. Not in this one, unfortunately. But I do love the scoring, which is just, you know, the amount of points you get decides the sort of ranking you get. Lovely little thing. Number 2, and here it is. This was not on the list last year. I hadn't played it last year. I did own it last year, but I hadn't played it. Now I've played it a little bit, not too much, but enough to absolutely fall in love with it. It's one of my absolutely favorites. What's it called? Favorites. It's my favorite trilogy in books and in movies from my absolutely favorite author. It is my favorite universe to delve into. What else can I say? It is the War of the Ring. But there's no there, but I like to say the War of the Ring. Has more ring to it, based on the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R. Tolkien, and that one is important for me to point out. By J.R. Tolkien, it is based on the books, not the movies. It does change it up ever so slightly, some abilities, some characters, some event cards. You get a little bit more from the books than you get from the movies. That's how it is. And what a brilliant one. I have a little bit of box damage here, but that's because I bought it used. I've actually squeezed everything into it. I have 2 of the expansions and the sort of Battle for Erebor thing. There's a new expansion out. I don't know if I can fit it into the box. I don't know if I should fit it into the box. That's also a question. Should I do it? I don't know. But it's absolutely brilliant. I haven't played with any of the expansions yet, but the game itself is so amazing. I didn't think I could like the dice rolls that much, but rolling the dice in this one is brilliant. As the 3 people you get to start, you have less dice, but that means you can pass. That means you can see what the shadow is doing, because he can pass until he's on level with you. Well, he can never pass, actually. And you are trying to make Sauron go for the ring more, because he hungers for the ring, like the shadow player. Because that can keep him distracted from the Battle of Middle-earth, for your characters to maybe buff off the strongholds and move with the ring. It's such a brilliant back and forth. It's fun to play out of the side. I know Shut Up and Sit Down, which is one of the biggest reviews I've watched. I enjoy watching the reviews again and again. Talk about how they just want to play the same side. I understand that. I always want to play the same side again, develop on the tactics, but I also really want to explore the other side. Sit in that chair, feel my opponent, you know. From last turn I was thinking, what are you doing? In this turn I'm thinking, oh, this is what you were doing. It's such a brilliant, brilliant game. So invested into this world. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And it's going to go down on my Lord of the Rings shelf. And I have to bring them up here. The card game is also brilliant, but again, it's the card game version. I can't bring it in. And I want to give one special honorable mention to the Lord of the Rings card game. I've only just recently gotten this one, played a little bit solo, and I am loving it so far, but I was already in the middle of making these videos. I can't just push everything down just because I get a new game. And I also have the Lord of the Ring, the first edition, which I'm looking forward to trying at some point. So that's Lord of the Ring. My Lord of the Rings board game collection is growing. Looking better and better every single day. What a lovely shelf you have down there. But now, it's the number 1. And I'm gonna sit down for this one. Now I'm not, because I have the camera adjusted fucking sync. My number 1 was also my number 1 last year. I've gotten 2 new, 3 new, 4 new versions of it. I have every single thing. Version of the game. The dice game, the duel game, the junior game, and the water game. I have all 3 expansions that's ever been released for this game. Exotic, XXL, and Boss. I haven't played Boss yet. I received it very recently. And the person that I really can play this game with hasn't been for Game Up meetups in a little bit. So I'm hoping she shows up, not Monday, but Saturday, because she never shows up Mondays. But never mind. I'm hoping she shows up very soon. And the light just disappeared. That's what happens when you use natural light. I love this game. and I have an entire shelf of them right here behind me. But I have the main game down here, the actual game, the 2007 Spiel des Jahres winner, Sudorello by Michael Schacht. I just love this game, and it's weird because there isn't really anything to it, right? You pull from a bag, decide where to place it, and hopefully no one takes it from you. It's so simple, there shouldn't really be anything in it, but I just love playing this game. I have the goodie box here filled with promos, Acquaretto as well, 2 promos in that one. Mini was surprisingly brilliant. Like, it removes a few things from Sudorello and you think, that makes it worse. No, they make it work, it's bloody brilliant. Duel is really good as well. Really fantastic 2-player version of it, and the dice game is just a brilliant. It's also just a brilliant version of it, except one expansion. The only thing I don't like from Sudorello, one expansion. Anyways, Sudorello, I love Sudorello. It's brilliant. It's so expandable. As I said, you know, I have 3 expansions, a bunch of promos. You can mix and match it. It always fits together very nicely. Be careful not to have too much because you can't keep track of it. It fits together like a puzzle to create this beautiful zoo. It's amazing. They have made a Tierpark Hagenbeck promo, and just to be quick, Tierpark Hagenbeck is the first ever proper zoo built in 1907. It's brilliant. It made me do research and learn something amazing. I really love Sudorello. I can play it for hours. I can play it so many times, and I've played it so many times, and we're playing it even more now that one more person actually really wants to play it with me, which is amazing because not many people at the game meetups actually want to play it, because, and that's fair enough, right? Just because it's my favorite game and I love it to bits doesn't mean everybody should. But that's my number 1, Sudorello. Once again, it should give a story, right? Because I think I got into board games in 2019 actually, the end of 2020. And Team Night Europe shot up as my number 1. Every game I played was compared to it. Wingspan came in, Meadow came in. These brilliant games came in, and you know, they were good. I liked them, but nothing could compare to Team Night Europe, right? Now, of course, Meadow and Wingspan has overtaken Team Night Europe. And then I played Sudorello first, and I was happy with it, and I liked it. I played it some more, and it just all of a sudden was just the best thing in the world. In 2022 is when I got it, and it's just remained my number 1 since. It's amazing. So that is Sudorello, my number 1, and that concludes the top 50 games of all time. I'm doing 50 this year. Maybe I'll do 60 next year. That depends, of course, on if I'm playing anything good. I mean, I've already shown you Lord of the Rings, the card game. I'm receiving a few games this year. My fingers crossed, Honey Bus finally arrives this year. I'm looking forward to it. But maybe it will. Maybe I'll expand it. Maybe I'll just keep it at 50 until I go to 100, because 50 is a good number. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye.